Good morning, everybody.
Javi, I know you cook for a living, so the last thing you want to do on your time off is cook. And since I do this for a living, all I do is cook all weekend. I made more food this weekend. Daughter's back to evenings with practice. School starts next week. I think I'm already ready for school to start. Curious what the mornings are going to be like. I've kind of found my routine here in the last few months. It's all about to change. Be a lot of noise. A lot of noise.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Monday, the first Monday of August. Thanks for being with us. How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Top of the morning to you, Mark. Happy trade deadline day. How are you?
I'm good. It's already starting to happen. I'm just kind of keeping my eyes focused to the north and to the east. What will the Rays and Marlins do in the next however many hours we've got here?
11 hours and 58 minutes.
There you go. Every league has a different ending to these things. I didn't look, so I didn't want to guess. Is it 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock for baseball? Go get them. Go get them, Rays. You know, I mean, Toronto's unloading. Other teams are unloading. The weekend did a little bit what we thought it might, David. It got teams moving some players. Obviously, the biggest domino falls with guess who getting better? The Dodgers. Nothing like the best pitcher in baseball or one of the best pitchers in baseball being available, and he goes to the Dodgers.
Hey, I'll yell at all of you who are yelling at the Dodgers. They want to win. Okay? Every team in the majors could have had Skubal. Every one. This isn't like in a few months when he reaches free agency. And then there's literally a handful of teams who can afford Skubal. But Skubal was there for the taking. And the Dodgers were afraid of the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, I'm going to say that out loud slowly. The Dodgers were afraid of the Milwaukee Brewers. And so they paid the price. They played defense as much as they played offense. Because, Mark, they thought, let me get this straight. We get in a playoff series with Milwaukee, and we're going to face Mizorowski and Skubal?
Perhaps twice each.
Right.
You know, yeah. I mean, I'm with you. No, David, I'm bummed out that he went to the Dodgers. I actually wanted him to go to Milwaukee. I'm kind of with you on this one. For whatever reason, I have this fondness for the Brew Crew. I went to a game at County Stadium many years.
Braves, Yankees, Cubs, White Sox, Dodgers, Rays all picked up players over the weekend. Okay. And we still got time today. Good deal. Good deal.
And David, I guess I'm not surprised that the Dodgers ended up doing it, but our friend Dr. Roto, we're having the summit coming up a week from tomorrow, and he reposted something that a baseball fan had put that, don't blame the Dodgers. These are the teams that are at fault. And it was all the low salary teams. And I looked at the post and I'm like, really? This is what's wrong with baseball? You mean the Rays, the White Sox, the Brewers? They're all in the playoffs. They're not doing anything wrong.
They're all in first place.
Bunch of the other teams are fighting for a wild card spot. So I am fascinated by where baseball is right now, David, because I do want a salary cap. I do. And I don't think that we know how far the two sides are apart. We know that there is a canyon between the two. But man, you could argue that both sides have some ammo, a lot of ammo. When you look at what the bottom spending teams are doing as far as winning, it's tough to argue that this sport needs a cap.
Yep. And that's what the players have been saying to the commissioner for the whole month. Have you checked the standings? What are you talking about? So, little less than 12 hours left in the deadline. A lot of teams making moves. There are still a lot of moves to be made. If you're remotely in it, you will likely pick up a bullpen arm today. That's the hockey equivalent of picking up a bottom six winger.
Right. Exactly right, David.
A depth defenseman. That's what teams will likely do today. The question is somebody going to make a big move, a bold move? And what would that move be? I'll be curious. Right. The Rays got Freddie Peralta from the Mets. He's got number 1, number 2 starter stuff, but he hasn't had it this year. His ERA is right around 5 this year. He's gone deep into games, not necessarily this year. So the Rays trying to catch a little lightning in a bottle. They gave up 3 minor leaguers, only one of them in their top 25, according to MLB.com's list of organizations' prospects. So they didn't give up much.
So we'll see what today brings. I'm very curious with what the Marlins do, David, because, a lot of talk that the Red Sox are after a couple of their infielders. So what direction do the Miami Marlins go to today? And, the Yanks go out and get a hitter. So they've got 74 guys to play first base and DH. And when Stanton comes back, what do? So I am every part about this baseball trade deadline has me damn near a touch more confused than I was before it started. So we shall see what the next roughly 12 hours bring us, because it'll be 12 hours before we find out everything that happened.
Right. Listen, Mark, the Yankees can't score runs. I mean, at this point, I think they just have to acquire bats and fit them in as best they can because they cannot score runs. And yet they still managed to take 2 or 3 from the Cubs and Wrigley and pick up a game on the Rays over the weekend. I mean, their pitching is go to the World Series pitching. But
and it may be enough with the bats that they have. When they get Judge back, in the playoffs, David, their method may work. The timely 2 hits and a home run, or the timely walk, a hit and a home run, may be enough with how well they pitch. Because I wonder how much the Rays score against good pitching, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, same with the Yankees. They can't score against mediocre pitching. How are they going to score against playoff pitching?
Right. And then you got a team like the Red Sox that just got done having the best July that they've ever had. Ever. That seems like a pretty good stat to me, David. They've been playing baseball a while.
Yeah, they have.
I mean, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's one thing when the Marlins had the best June they've ever had. Heck, they've been playing 30 or so years.
Right.
Red Sox have nearly been playing 30 years this century.
So that's where we are in the game of baseball. The football magic numbers are 26 and 37. 26 and 37. We are 8 days away from the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto. Sign up now before I send you another blast via text message, because it's coming. Don't kid yourself. Probably about 7 a.m. this morning. Dinner, Dr. Roto, all of the fantasy work that you don't want to do will be done for you by one Dr. Roto. Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. We start a week from Tuesday, the 11th. Make your plans to sign up now, millerandmoulton.com. Some things happened around the rest of the sports world as well. We will get into them. Michael Felder will join us to talk some college football. It looks as if they're going to try to jam this bill in before the summer session ends. We shall see. There are eligibility issues coming with the 5-year deal. The judge told the NCAA, this doesn't work. We'll go to Indianapolis and talk with Andrew Moore and get ready for the Colts as we start breaking down the AFC South. And JP Hoornstra will join us at the top of the Pro Hour as the baseball trade deadline continues on. JP to talk some baseball. We'll recap what happened. Who knows? Could something happen by 9 this morning? I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibility.
No, I would like to think some folks pulled all-nighters.
Right.
If you're going to pull an all-nighter as a GM all year, overnight was the night to pull it.
It's National Watermelon Day. What's your favorite melon? Mine's always been David's melon. It's a fantastic melon. You got cantaloupe, you got watermelon. Does anybody really like honeydew? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is it an A and B subject? Are there only 2 melons out there besides the large craniums that some of you may come in contact with on a daily basis? Miller and Moulton, great guess. Maybe a poll question for you in the starting 5. That's just 25 minutes away.
The Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
You have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, I mean, my grandmother grew melons. So, T. Haynes, I've had, a ripe honeydew. Not much to it to me. Now, I've never had a sugar kiss melon. And no, I've never put salt on watermelon. But we just had watermelon on the 4th of July, and it was wonderful. I made I had so much left over, I made a watermelon sherbet, and it was delicious. Delicious, I tell you. I like playing bongos with a good melon. Get a couple of cantaloupes and work the bongos. I like the old ladies hitting the melons in the store, trying to find that hollow sound that they're looking for. No. Ross Chastain has not answered our calls in over 2 years. There's no chance. None whatsoever. Oh, Javier, then you hate me. If I'm buying grapes, I'm having a couple while I'm in the store. I'm not going to lie. Ask him why he hasn't answered a phone call of ours in over 2 years, Jay Gunn. I've got his phone number too. If it's still the same, I mean, I don't think he's changed it. Maybe he has. There he is, right there. Yep. Mm-hmm. Still got that 239 number. Oh, it's probably put right to spam. But I mean, he used to answer them. There before he got big, he'd answer them. He's been on this show, I don't know, 6-8 times, Jay Gunn, and then he just quit answering the phone, which is disappointing. When that happened, I kind of also quit watching him and caring about him. Left Twix, I know you. I don't know if you do this just because you think it's fun. I don't watch the Astros on the weekend, okay? I don't have the baseball package. I'm not going to get the baseball package. They're in first place. They swept the Rangers. They are playing great baseball. I believe they've won 5 in a row. I've said for a while, I've said it to baseball people, Leftwicks, that I think they're scary if they make the playoffs. What is it you want me to say, man? What is it you want me to say? You love the Astros. I live in Florida. I don't watch them. The Astros don't mean anything to me. But they have a really good hitting team, and if they get in the postseason, they can be scary. They can't pitch. I think they need a pitcher. This is the same thing I said on Friday, Leftwicks.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Monday morning. Hope you had a great weekend. I have to admit, I largely stayed away from the sports world. I mean, I checked scores. I read headlines. I got into a little bit last night. But I largely said there are very few weekends that we can just say, I'm good. But obviously the Scooble news was fascinating to me because the Dodgers get their man, as David said, maybe at the expense of the Brewers, which is crazy. But, we all have, David has sources. I've never really claimed to be a person who has a lot of sources. Occasionally, I have a few friends who have done much better in life than I have. And because of that, they are around people who financially know more people than I do. And it turns out that happened over the weekend. A good friend of mine was at a wedding. It was I believe his nephew's wedding. And who's he sitting with but a person whose last name would be the name that signs the checks for the Tigers and the Red Wings.
Huh.
And, well, this guy's not afraid to ask questions. So I get a text Sunday morning that I sat with so-and-so last night, and he just starts telling me everything about the conversation. And I have it on a pretty reliable source that, for the record, for you Tiger fans that are upset, the contract that apparently was put in front of Mr. Scooble, the annual value started with the 5. And he didn't want it, or his agent didn't want it. He wanted free agency. So for those of you that thought the Tigers cheaped out and didn't offer him, Boris and Scooble, and Boris mainly, because Scooble tried to really play both sides of the fence most of the season. I love it here. I don't want to leave. And now I'm excited to try to get them their 3rd championship. He just tried to say all the right things. But he wasn't going to re-sign with Detroit. They offered him a boatload of money. Now, I don't know what the term was, and that may have been the bone of contention. All I know is that I have it at a pretty reliable source that they were around 50. And Boris wanted to go to free agency. I've got to be honest with you. That's more money than I would offer, David. I don't care what the term was.
So 3 for $150?
Yeah, I mean, 5 for $250. I don't know. Like I said, I had no idea what the term was.
Oh.
So we shall see what the offseason will bring for Tarek Skubal?
Wow. I know it's quote short term and everybody's looking for 5, 7 plus, but man, 3 for 150, you turn around at 33, you can still get another contract. You know, it may only be another 3-year deal, but I mean, if you pitch well, it'll be roughly the same amount of money. That's 6 for 300. But
I got you, but I'm just curious what I bring that up only because I think it's pretty reliable. And secondly, when he signs whatever he signs in the offseason, I'll be curious.
Right.
You know, if it's 6 for 240, if it, you know, whatever the case may be. So I'm just interested to see what that will do. You know, the Rays you mentioned, they have Peralta now. He's probably a 3 for them, right?
Well, if he can pitch the way he's pitched in the past, he's at least that. You know, I'm wondering if at this point he's just going to be a back of the rotation, you know, fill out 6 innings and do the best you can. We'd love if you can give us a quality start, but, you know, we'll deal with it if you don't.
Well, David, let me ask you this. If you were to bet who you get, and let's just give it 2-3 starts. By the time, let's just say by the time September, at the end of August, we'll throw my birthday out there. By the time August 23rd rolls around, I've just got this feeling he's going to be pitching pretty well. I have faith in the Rays, their staff, and what they've been able to do with pitchers, I don't know, for seemingly 20 years. So I'm betting on the Rays with this one. I am. I may get burned, but I'll lose my $20, as we like to bet on this show, David, betting that the Rays will figure something out for him.
Well, the other thing is he'll have the Rays defense behind him. That's a lot better than the Mets defense.
Yep, top 5 in the league by pretty much all accounts.
So you're probably right. And will he be good enough to help them win the East? Will he be good enough so that in the best of 5 divisional series that he'll start one of the games?
So what do the Marlins do today? You know, the Sox have made a couple of moves. No one, I mean, the White Sox made a little move. Cleveland hasn't done anything. So I'm just curious, you know, what's going to happen in the West, because the Astros now have, a couple game lead on the Rangers after sweeping them?
Well, and so much so that Texas now may sell. That's how damaging this weekend was. If they had taken 1 out of 3, they'd be half a game back, and they certainly wouldn't be selling. But since they lost all 3, there's thoughts that Texas, who has a terrible farm system, may be sellers. Huh. How about that?
So the trade deadline, 6 p.m. this evening. You know, are the Phillies going to pull off anything between now and then? Are the Braves going to make, what kind of move do the Braves make today, if any? So I still think I think because Skubal was dealt early enough, David, that we should have an active 12 hours.
I agree. At what point does the price go down for some of these guys? Or are the people that have the arms and the bats going to hold out till 5:59 and then realize, oh, wow, we're not going to get a deal done? Or are the Phillies and others going to cave? You've asked, by the way, what are the Marlins going to do? I'll settle for nothing, but they better not trade anybody who's playing every day. They want to give up some of their system for somebody who could help them, even if it's one person, to just make themselves a little bit better. Okay. But they better not unload anybody who's in that dugout unless they're getting a dude.
So, trade deadline today. Training camps are all full on. Houston reunites with Clowney. David will get into that in the starting five momentarily. Some news across the college football front that we will get into on the show today. Big Ten and SEC, I guess, giving their endorsement to the Save College Sports Act. Don't know where that brings us, but they're going to try to jam this in before the summer session's over. We'll see if it even passes. The 5-year eligibility's already been challenged. That's off to a great start, creating havoc on campuses across the country. Whatever you may have missed over the weekend, we'll get to next. It's the starting five.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floor Meisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floor Meisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Those sponsors aren't ours, guys. If you don't hear it on this, they're not a sponsor. So I think you're listening on the radio, Sonny. The first 4 commercials are our sponsors. That's it. Then the local stations get theirs. So that is not a sponsor of ours. We are really at the point where we've got 4 sponsors right now: Pelican Roofing, Floor Meisters, Cape Coral Police Department, Sleep Treatment Direct. That's it. It's ugly. I know you listen different ways, so I'm not condemning that. I'm just merely pointing out what's what.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 26 and 37, the number of days left to the college and pro football seasons kickoff. 26 for college, 37, 5 weeks from Wednesday for the NFL. 8 is how many days there is till our fantasy football summit. August 11th, Dr. Roto, you, food, drink, cheat sheet, get you all prepped for first your draft and then all the stuff you keep with you throughout the year so you keep winning every week. It's our fantasy football summit. Go to millerandmoulton.com and sign up.
You know, there's only 7 days until my daughter starts school. Summer's over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the beginning of August. It's still one of those things that I can't rack through my brain. Being someone who grew up in the Midwest, you grew up in the Northeast, you start school after Labor Day.
Correct.
But that's not the case around here. And
No,
I
it is
understand all the
not.
reasons why. I don't need explanations. I have a friend who was a principal for years. He broke it all down for me. I get it. I understand. It doesn't mean that it's any less weird. That's all. Just weird. That's all I'm saying.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is the Starting Five.
trade deadline is 6 o'clock tonight, so 11 hours and 20 minutes. Tariq Skubal ended up a Dodger over the weekend. Rays got Freddie Peralta from the Mets for 3 prospects. Only one of them in their top 20. White Sox acquire outfielder Avisel Garcia and pitcher Luis. Sure. I think it's Cardio, but I could be wrong. But the White Sox get a pitcher and a bat. They're in. And they should be. They're 3 up. Cubs get pitcher Kevin Gausman from the Blue Jays. Yankees get infielder Luis Garcia from the Nats for 4 minor league right-handed pitchers. Well, Nats needed pitching. Good for them. And also good for them because they just got swept in a 4-game series by the Braves. So they were in it till the perfect time until literally days before the deadline. And then they fell out of everything. Good for the Nats. And the Braves get right-handed starting pitcher Tyler Mahle from the Giants. He was like Freddie Peralta, quite frankly, Mark. Okay, the Braves are also betting on a guy who last year was terrific. And the year before even. This year, oof. Bad team, bad pitcher. So we'll see between the Braves and the Rays which one gets to turn a right-handed starter around. Speaking of the Rays and the White Sox, they finished up a 3-game series. The Outsiders took 2 of 3, beat Tampa 9-1. Rays lead has fallen to 2.5 over the Yankees because the Yankees took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. Beat them 2-1 yesterday. Jose Caballero with a 2-run homer early, and that's all Garrett Cole and the bullpen needed. So Yankees 2.5 back. Cubs, I believe, are 6 back, 6.5 back of Milwaukee, who did lose to the Angels 3-0. The Red Sox keep on winning. Hit 4 homers. Swept the Dodgers in LA. 8-4 the final. You know Boston is as many back of the Yankees as the Yankees are back of the Rays. Yankees 2.5 back of the Rays. Red Sox 5 back of the Rays. So just 2.5 back of the Yankees. And I believe only 2 back in the loss column.
That's correct.
Cleveland avoided a sweep at home against Arizona. Guardians won 5-0. Cleveland's 3 back of the White Sox. So there. Twins lost in Seattle 7-6. Second straight game. Seattle walked off Minnesota in the 9th. Twins are 4 back in the Central. They have a better record than Seattle, who's only 3 back in the West. Go figure. And speaking of the West, Houston completed a 3-game sweep of the Rangers. 7-3 the final. They're in first place by 2.5 over Texas. And 3 over Seattle. Your Tigers, Mark, trade Scooble, sweep the A's. 11-0 the final. I guess we have to mention them at 5.5 back in the division.
Just 2.5 out of the wild card. I mean,
I guess crazy things have happened in that division the last couple of years. Marlins beat the Mets 2-0, took 3 of 4. Marlins are a 1.5 games back for the final playoff spot in the National League, which right now the Phillies and Diamondbacks are tied for the last 2 playoff spots in the National League. Phillies beat the Orioles 8-0 to take 2 of 3. Phillies and Diamondbacks both a game ahead of the Padres, who took 3 out of 4 from the Giants, 5-4 the final. San Diego just a game back for the final playoff spot. Cincinnati did some real damage to the Pirates. Reds took 3 out of 4 over the weekend. Won 10-2 yesterday. Pirates are 3.5 back for a playoff spot. Braves swept the Nats right out of being relevant. A 4-game sweep, 4-2 Atlanta. Braves with an 8-game lead in the East. By the way, St. Louis with a 5-1 lead over a win over Toronto. They scored 4 in the 9th to do it. And the Cardinals are 4 back of a wild card. So the Padres are a game back. The Marlins are a 1.5 games back. The Pirates are 3.5 back. The Cardinals are 4 back. Oh yeah, Colorado beat Kansas City 8-1. Golf, 24-year-old Michael Thornbjornsen shoots a 7 under 63 in the final round of the Rocket Classic to win it. The final one that'll be held in Detroit. Thornbjornsen's first ever win on the PGA Tour.
first ever win. He's only been on tour for like 3 years. The longest putt he made the entire weekend was his birdie putt on 18th that basically clinched the victory. I mean, that's
40-footer.
That's pretty impressive that
Yep.
you bang that in and bogey free on. You've never won and you go bogey free with the best round you've ever shot on tour. Sunday to win. Wow.
Shoot a bogey-free 5 under 30 on the back nine coming in to come from behind and win. And beat a pretty good golfer in your own group in Shoffley to make sure you get that W. So Thornbjornson, who's in the top 40 now in the FedEx, with the win. Japan's Shio Kawaki won the Open Championship in a playoff. Nelly Korda finished 3 back in a tie for 4th. And you know, Zach Johnson likes this Champions Tour. He won the Portugal Invitational by 2. Mark mentioned it. Jadeveon Clowney is back with the Texans. What's more, the rich getting richer? Scooble to the Dodgers or Clowney to the Texans? Talk about a team that doesn't need a pass rusher and all the ones out there that still do. Mark, help me out. 33-year-old pass rusher at 8 sacks last year. Why is he in Houston?
He said it was a natural fit. Yeah, I'm sure it was. And David, seriously, someone asked in the chat room, can he still play? Yeah. 25, 30 snaps a game? Yeah, absolutely. And that's all they need. I mean, it is perfect for him.
Now, the reason he's in Houston is because the other teams screwed around, waited too long. And finally, Houston said, you know what? You live in Houston. We think we're going to a Super Bowl. You want to go to a Super Bowl with us? And Clowney said, well, it sure as hell beats playing in Cleveland. So Clowney signed with the Texans. 24-year-old Saints wide receiver Jalen Polk retired. It was considered a surprise. So confusion over the weekend in college football. Mark, help me out here.
I'll try because I don't. Okay, go.
It's why I booked Michael Felder an hour from now. So a Denver federal judge late on Friday overturns the 5-for-5 rule. Then when the NCAA calls them up in a panic, the judge goes, oh, no, I didn't mean that. No, especially not for college football. No. Everybody is set as of today where they're playing, pro or college. Oh, okay. And what is this SEC Big Ten? Now they're finally got their ducks in a row, and they're going to support this government legislation as to what the eligibility is going to be.
Right. They got some more money thrown in, and they gave it support because basically, David, I don't know. They keep losing every court case, so they want federal law. David, I'm serious. Like I'm trying to read these and figure out what's what, and I'm confused as hell.
No, you hit on it. They think if they can get this act passed by the Senate, they're going to get some kind of antitrust protection, which is going to allow them to start passing some of the laws and rules that they want to pass. Now, John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader, may do what's necessary to get this bill through.
The good news is, if you're in favor of this, I'm not for sure that Trump wants this exact bill, but Trump has said he wants something. So it appears that Congress and the president are at least on the same page when it comes to wanting some sort of laws for this.
Yeah, but I don't think they have the votes in the House. Remember, they have a bigger Republican majority in the Senate. They have like a 1-vote majority right now in the House. So this might pass the Senate and not pass the House. This might get passed. Ted Cruz has said this is it. We either get it done in August of 26 or this ain't ever going to happen. Okay. But Michael Felder, an hour from now, to literally explain to us what the heck happened over the weekend. Because one judge changed his mind twice.
I think you nailed it. And I still don't know, David, because this whole eligibility thing was about what? 15, 17 college basketball players that didn't get drafted that wanted to play a fifth year. That's where it started.
Right. But then by ruling the way they initially ruled Friday night, they were going to turn the college football season into complete chaos.
Correct. Anybody that hadn't signed a pro contract, or if they had and were going to get cut, they could. I mean, oh, goodness gracious.
So, yeah, it was crazy. We'll get Michael Felder to explain it as best we can coming up in about an hour. And that, as we approach 7 minutes before the hour, is your starting five big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
Fantasy Football Summit is a week from tomorrow night. Shoeless Joe's, millerandmoulton.com is where you sign up. Hope to see you there. Great night. Dr. Roto will give you his cheat sheet. We'll give you strategies, and we'll explain to you how to best dominate in your league. Great night out. Little food, little drink, little Dr. Roto at the Bell Tower Shops, the Doubletree Hotel behind Shoeless Joe's. Same building as Shoeless Joe's. We just don't take over their whole bar. Hey, they give us a private room to get after this. Miller and Moulton. We'll talk some college football at 8 o'clock, some baseball at 9. Thanks so much for listening.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.com. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ooh. Well, they sold a pitcher over the weekend.
Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Monday, the first such Monday of August. Thanks for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. National Watermelon Day.
Right.
You're trying to figure out if honeydew is even worthy enough to make the survey.
I don't think it is. Some people have been going with this sugar kiss melon. That's what's been in the chat room a lot. I think I've had a bite of one once. I know it exists. I've never purchased one to have a whole sugar kiss melon. And as someone described it, it's everything a cantaloupe wants to be. I thought that was a pretty funny comment when we're talking melons. And I'm not letting your mind go in the gutter today, people. Not. Because usually I'd lead you there. But I mean, is it seemingly a watermelon, cantaloupe, and I guess sugar kiss? I don't know how many people have even had it.
I'd never even heard of it.
But David, I wanted to ask a little more generic question. And because, and it's not really been on my brain, but I thought of this last night, and I don't know why that I did. I was sitting there, the wife and daughter and I were watching a stand-up act, one that the whole family could watch. And we're laughing. And I don't know why, the brain's kind of wandering during some of the jokes that didn't hit with me. And I was thinking about 21st century cheating in sports. Because I'm not going to get into the Black Sox thing. None of us were even close to alive. Our grandparents weren't alive, for crying out loud, in most cases. But to me, there have been a handful of things this century that qualify as cheating. Obviously the Michigan Connor Stallions thing was cheating, whether you want to say that it was or not. You got a couple of Patriot things. You got Spygate and you got Deflategate. You got the Astros with the banging on the trash cans. And I don't know why, but I was trying to think, is that a poll question? What is the most egregious cheating that's happened this century in sports? And I don't know why that was in my head. And it's probably something I should have texted you and brought up last night, but I didn't. I thought I'd just spring it on you.
Right.
And I think I've nailed what the relevant choices are. I am sure that a texter or two, I guess it was this century because you and I were doing a show. I'll even go NASCAR on you. Was it
Michael Waltrip?
Michael Waltrip there.
And the airport fuel.
Right.
The jet engine fuel, right?
The jet engine fuel, right. Or the rocket fuel, whatever the hell he had that he didn't get to use. So, and I'm not, I understand that a lot of people are putting up steroid things and texting me steroid things. Not saying that that's not cheating, but that's not what I'm talking about. Because one, there's no way in baseball to determine who was and who wasn't. There really isn't. We've got a good idea, but trust me, we miss on a lot more. So I'm trying to keep this to actual things that occurred to help influence games. Like the Connor Stallion sign thing, that's cheating. The Astros banging on trash cans, that's cheating. Filming another team's practice when you're not allowed to do so, cheating. So I didn't know if it was worthy of a poll question, but it is early August. We're kind of at that impasse of, yeah, we got a trade deadline today, but not a lot's going to happen between now, probably and 9 a.m. We may get something in our final hour. We're not breaking down pennant races this morning because largely you've told us over the years you don't care. And no offense, but so far in training camps, there's not much to report on. So it was, sorry, what was that?
Imagine that.
Well, yeah. So that was on my brain last night. For whatever reason, that's what hit me. And I'm sure there are others. 21,000, Pelican Roofing of Florida. That's our text line.
Well,
you can fire away.
Of the three, to me, the deflate gate is laughable compared to the others for this reason. First off, do you know how the Patriots got caught with the underinflated footballs? Yeah, after an interception. The Colts brought the ball to the sideline and went, this is different. And so the ball wasn't used the rest of the game. At the time, it was a one-score game. Patriots won by 4 scores. So, I think as far as breaking the rules and cheating goes, that was the most minor infraction.
Right, and I would say that Spygate was worse than Deflategate, if you will, because I threw that in there as well. Like if I were to rank the 4 that I listed, I would go Astros 1, Michigan 2, Spygate 3, Deflategate 4. That would be how I would rank them. And other people are talking about Sammy Sosa and his corked bat. Sammy Sosa did a lot of cheating. The steroid thing obviously affected the home runs, and then he quit juicing, and then he tried to cork the bat. I think I've got that right. Someone brought up the Tim Donaghy betting scandal. He benefited. A team didn't win. The Astros won a World Series because they cheated.
Yes.
I mean, how is that not at the top of the list? Even Michigan, if you want to get all over Connor Stallions, they had it eliminated by midseason.
Well, not exactly. There are a lot of people. Of the year they won the Natty, you're right.
Right.
Of the year they won the Natty, you're right. Now, the thing is, they were using the evidence that they had gathered in the previous years, and a lot of teams, weren't fully aware of it and didn't change their signs and blah, blah, blah. But, legend has it, by the way. Remember that semifinal?
Yes.
Michigan's first trip to the playoff, they got beat by Georgia. Well, they were expected to get beat by Georgia. They were the 3, Georgia was the 2. All right. Then the next year, Michigan's the 2. TCU's the 3. Michigan's a solid favorite. And TCU puts what, half 100 on them?
Right.
And
it would seem that if you thought the offense was going to run a certain play based on the signals, and they're running a completely different play because they changed them because they were told you cheat, well, the evidence would show that defense really struggled being tricked.
When the other team caught wind that you guys were cheating, so we're going to make it really simple. We're going to call out the plays, and if the play normally says we go left, we're going to go right. And we're going to see how long it's going to take for you to catch on. And it took till about the 4th quarter for Michigan to catch on. So,
but I still think that's second compared to I know a fastball's coming. I'm sorry, the Astros still takes the cake with me.
Well, you and I wanted to go on the Florida tour, spring training and regular season games, and we wanted to bring the trash cans.
We wanted to go to the Trop with trash cans when Houston was in town. We knew they wouldn't let us, but that was the plan. And I do think that if it's, and think about it. In college football, who are we talking about? Michigan. I mean, that is college football royalty. No, it's not Ohio State. It's not Alabama. It's not Notre Dame. But it's in the next group. It is. The Patriots. It's the midst of a dynasty. We're talking about Spygate and Deflategate. It is the Houston Astros. And I know they were good and they had a great run. Could you imagine how big it would be if it would have been the Yankees, David?
Oh, it would have shut the sport down.
So I've always thought that was on top. Just thought I would throw it out there. Had a little thought in my head last night, sitting with the family. I mean, you can only do that for so long before you start thinking of other things. And last night clearly was one of those nights. They had a little stand up on the TV. When the joke didn't hit, the brain started to wander. Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. What do you think is the worst of those three? Do you think there's something that's bigger? And don't just try to point out something that we miss. I would actually like you to say, I think this is bigger than those. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Fantasy Summit is a week from tomorrow. You get dinner and you get all the fantasy advice that you can stomach. See what I did there? Dr. Roto. Go to millerandmoulton.com. Get your Heine there. We may even have a Heine for you. I won't drink one, but if they're there, you're more than welcome to have one. I'll stick with the domestic. We'll talk with Michael Felder about everything going on that's happened really over the weekend in college football. Andrew Moore covers the Colts. Who are they going to be this year? Are they the team the first half of the season that was off to an 8-2 start? And what's that make that division look like? He'll join us in the 8 o'clock hour. And JP Hoornstra will join us at 9 to talk the Major League Baseball trade deadline. All coming up. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Ambient, stop it. You're just making things up. They paid the refs. Stop it. Stop it. You sound like a 4-year-old. And Soda, I believe if you're talking about someone else brought up Rosie Ruiz, that was in the 80s. I did say this century. It's why I hesitate to do segments like this. You know, the super fans just start making stuff up. And by the way, Ambient, good teams have been getting calls for at least a century. That's how it works. That's how it always has worked. Watch your team this year start getting calls because they were good last year. They don't call as many holding penalties on offenses of good football teams. They just don't. They don't call as many pass interference penalties on good teams. They just don't. What number are you this year, Ambient? When you go our team, what number are you? That's why I'm asking. It's our division now. What number are you? I'm just curious. How much money have you earned from the team? You're not on the team, dude. Well, the cheat. You would put that ahead of the other three, Sonny. The horse was disqualified, and it shouldn't have been. By the way, that was a joke for bumping. That wasn't cheating. That was bumping. That was a joke. That was the furthest thing from cheating. Never been called in the 150-year history of the race, and they called in that one. And I think every fan that said it is wrong, Ambient. I've pretty much stuck by that in a 20-plus year career in this business. You can say we about one team, in my opinion. That's if you have a degree on the wall that says you went there. Then it's a we, because you paid money for that degree. You graduated from Florida and you talk about the Gators and go we, I've got no issue with it. Never have, never will. Hell, I'll even say if you put your kid through one of those schools and paid for it, I can say I'll even let that we slide.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for being with us. Monday, first one of August. Pleased that we're doing a show. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We had Matt Baker on. He was just back from vacation. And in fact, I think he was going back to work for the first time in a week or so. Well, he printed something and released it either right before we had him on or right after. Did you check out the story he did?
I did not, David.
It was the value of each college football program if they were an NFL or Major League Baseball team, NBA team, what would they sell for? The most valuable college football franchise is
Ohio State or Texas?
correct. It's Texas, second year in a row. Ohio State cut into their lead significantly. Their lead last year was nearly $500 million. Ohio State cut it down to about $150 million. But Mark, there was one franchise worth more than $2 billion last year. That was Texas. This year, there's 4. Texas, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, in that order. Georgia went up in value, but down in ranking. They were ranked 2 last year. They're 5th this year, even though they're the first school, just under $2 billion. You can guess what schools where. I will say, though, and I looked at this pretty closely, 2 other things I want to point out. Last year, there were 13 college football programs worth $1 billion or more. This year, there's 17.
I actually think they're undervalued. I mean, just based on what you're saying, if you're telling me that there are only 17 franchises in college football, if you will, that are worth $1 billion, I think there's got to be more than that.
Okay.
If NHL teams are worth over $1 billion, how can a top college football program not be? That's all. That's my quick take from what you said. I'm not discounting anything that Matt Baker did his work on. I'm just saying, what did the Padres just go for?
Just under 4.
Right.
Right.
So if the Padres are worth $4 billion, what are the Miami Hurricanes worth?
Just under $1 billion.
Yeah, I think on the open market they get over $1 billion.
I think you're right.
You might be able to get UNLV basketball for $12 million, David, but if you want to get Hurricanes football, you better pay the piper.
It's interesting that you mentioned Miami. Miami, the value of their franchise, because of what they did last year, went up almost $350 million. They were just over $600 million a year ago. They're $950 this year. They're the highest valued program that's not worth $1 billion. Just want to point out one other thing. Mentioned $17 billion franchises this year to 13 last year. There was one franchise, Mark, in the top 20 who's still in the top 20, but they went down year to year. One franchise.
USC, because they don't play Notre Dame. That's my guess.
USC actually went up $200 million. They're tied with Oklahoma for 7th.
Okay, who's the team that went down then?
Florida State.
That makes sense.
Went down about $50 million in value year to year.
Magic numbers today are 26 and 37. 37, not a very, we've only had, David, 10 players in NBA history wear it. For the record, Metta World Peace wore it with the Lakers, just for what it's worth. Hockey, one good skater, one great skater, and a couple of really good goaltenders. Patrice Bergeron wore it with the Bruins. But Hellebuck and Ole Kolzig, couple of goaltenders that have donned the 37 and have done pretty well for their respective teams.
Ole the goalie.
Damn right. Not a ton of 37s in baseball, really not in football either, but we work our way to football here. Dave Stieb wore it for the Jays for the majority of his career. Steven Strasburg wore it for the Nats. Keith Hernandez wore it when he played for the Cardinals for most of his career. Not all of his years in St. Louis, but the majority of them. Kenny Rogers wore it for the Rangers for the majority of the seasons he played. Not all. There's some other numbers in there. But that's that's your best 37s when it comes to the other sports. Football, I mean, there's not a ton here, David. There's not a ton. Rodney Harrison, however, is a 37.
There you go.
Lester Hayes is a 37.
Yeah, that was my guy. And I got an old timer, and I have to credit Vern Lundquist with this because he talked about him all the time. But Doak Walker.
Doak Walker. He won the Heisman in 1948, David. And a player for the 49ers that's in the Hall, Jimmy Johnson, not the NASCAR driver, not the coach, but a D-back for the Niners, was on the all-70s decade team in the NFL. And Seahawk fans out there are going, Sean Alexander, anyone? Sean Alexander? Yes.
There you go.
Sean Alexander. So those are your 37s. There's some others, but that's kind of a pretty decent list of who wore number 37. So there you go. 37 days away from the beginning of the NFL season. Seahawks and Patriots on a Wednesday night, because we need NFL football on more nights.
Well, think about it. Both franchises with a somewhat famous 37. Rodney Harrison, Sean Alexander.
Absolutely. Absolutely. By the way, was it over the weekend as well? Did we find out after our show? In fact, I think we did, that Tony Romo has been given a leave of absence from CBS.
Yeah, he done.
Right.
Yeah, we'll never see him again.
Ever again? Would anybody else take a chance on him after this? I mean, I will say, look it. As a broadcaster, I don't like him, so it's tough for me to stick up for him as a broadcaster. For some of the things people have gotten away with and still being able to work, an OUI in Wisconsin's like a speeding ticket, and his career's over because of it. That's fascinating to me.
Well, his career's over because CBS wants his career over with. They're getting out from under this contract that they thought they were going to be tied to. Now he's going to sue, and they're going to end up settling, but CBS is going to save some money in the deal. Mark, I think there's a chance like a year from now. Like, the word is that Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit are on their final years doing Thursday Night Football. And Al's 84. And there's been whispers for a long time that Ian Eagle's going to replace him. Ian's their number one basketball guy. And the thought now becomes, is J.J. Watt going to stay the number one? Is Greg Olsen going to become the number one? Could Romo end up on Amazon a year from now, replacing Herbstreit?
Jim! Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton
Moulton.com. If your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine, no more snoring, no more tossing, no more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, first off, Sonny, Mike Tirico, one, is talented. Two, that never really, I mean, yeah, it's out, but it never came back. I mean, it was not like that was a big story. Yeah, there was a feature done on it somewhere, but that got buried, man. I mean, the Romo thing's a different world today. Same thing with Marv Albert, because that went to court. Different day. Tirico's a pig, Dratharian, at the end of the day. Tirico, I don't know if that's been proven of a sexual assault, but it is, he was at worst, really, at best, really creepy. He's a dirty, dirty man, Dratharian. I mean, they basically told him to get out of Bristol. You can still work here. Just leave. Go to Michigan. Oh, Ambient, it could easily be fixed, but CBS doesn't want to pay him anymore. He's not any good. It's pretty well documented, EB.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. So there are times when we talk about stuff and you guys go, what the hell are you talking about that for? And sometimes we say, because people are surprisingly really interested in it. Maybe you don't, but I'm telling you, people are really into it. You know what was the most clicked story on The Athletic last week? Tony Romo being suspended and his uncertain future. Number one clicked item on The Athletic all week last week.
I'm not surprised. I mean, also, David, timing. There's not a lot going on right now. We've said this before. David likes baseball way more than I do. Baseball, I love the changes. I like it much better since they put the pitch clock in, but it's not the same game that I fell in love with. The ball doesn't move much. It's not in play. I'm sorry. So baseball, and as a nation, we don't talk about baseball anymore. It's funny, David, sports radio was founded on baseball.
Yes, it was.
It really was.
Locally and nationally.
Right. And now baseball's, but, if you're in Boston, New York, Detroit, Detroit Sports Talk Radio today is going to be, should we or shouldn't we have? That's all day long. They're not talking Lions or Red Wings or, they're talking the Tigers all day. But we are in a market, and we're in 5 markets in Florida. We've always said we're not going to try to out Tampa. And if they get to the city of Tampa and they sell out every game, maybe it'll be different. We've got 2 franchises in this state that are among the worst attended games in the sport. I'm betting it will get better when they go to Tampa. I don't know if I'm on my own with that one or if one David Moulton is with me. And by better, I mean that they're like the Lightning. Like, I don't mean that, of course, attendance is going to get better when they're in Tampa, but I mean they're going to be selling out more times than they're not. That's my prediction. I may be dead wrong. Wouldn't be the first time. So,
well, first we have to find out, do the folks in power want them in Tampa? Because this was supposed to be done months ago.
And it's still not done. So that's 1. 2, the biggest thing in the world right now is the National Football League. And there's no real football to talk about. As we've told you for a while now, training camps are actually boring. There aren't a lot of jobs up. There certainly aren't a lot of starting jobs up. And Tony Romo's a polarizing announcer. I don't know how many people disliked Tony Romo up until 2 years ago. They may have said he was overrated. They may have thought that the Cowboys could have done better without him and things like that. But after the first year, when everybody seemingly in the media told us how great Tony Romo was because he told us what play was going to happen, whether that went to his head, he didn't try as hard, but then it was kind of over the top, and it was a lot of yelling, and he didn't seem very prepared. And to some of us, he wasn't very good. Well, with the money he was making, and he gets pulled over, and the video is, look, I'm not comparing the two, although I guess, they're both ways you harm others. But there have been countless players since Ray Rice that have been accused of domestic assault. Countless. What do we have with Ray Rice, David?
Well, at first we had no video, so he got a 2-game suspension. Then we had video.
Yep.
And then he's never been seen or heard from again.
And with Tony Romo, we've got video. Doesn't help. And the video got out there quickly.
Well, it got out there, and then the first people who put it out there got a lot of clicks. And the other people who could start getting their hands on the video realized that, so they said, well, hell, we're into clicks. In fact, we'll release more of the video. And so on and so on. And I mean, Mark, I said it last week. He was done. There was 2 things telling me he was done. First off, I know how much CBS wants to get rid of him. And secondly, when the other networks started piling on, it was almost as if it was on cue and they were doing CBS a solid. Because they held on to that video for a little bit. They were not going after Romo's throat when the story initially broke. And then after about 72 or so hours, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, we're going after this guy.
And David, help me out here a little bit. One, I know you work in the business, so. But 2, aren't there a few broadcasters that probably need to pen him a thank you letter? Didn't he change the pay scale a little bit in that sport?
A lot of bit.
Right.
Absolutely did. Aikman owes him a thank you letter.
Right.
All right. And then Greg Olson owed him a thank you letter. And in a strange way, Brady owes him a thank you letter, even though Brady's making twice as much. But are they going to give Brady that kind of contract?
I mean, he was a game changer when it comes to getting paid in that profession.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Timing. All right. CBS had him. They were about to lose him. And ESPN was going to get him. And the word was not only ESPN going to get him, ESPN was going to make a bid for not just Monday Night Football, but for CBS's Sunday package. And that's why CBS, vaulted to the front of the line and said, pay them whatever it takes.
So, to David's point, why are we talking about it? And we haven't really brought up the OUI part of it at all.
Nope.
Because that is the crux of it, but it's largely irrelevant to the 2 of us.
Because it's such a minor offense in Wisconsin. He's going to, I don't even know if he'll get a slap on the wrist. That's how minor this is going to be. And I think we're both in agreement. We both don't think he should be fired for this. But I knew right away, once the video of his arrest started making the ABC and NBC nightly newscasts, I went, oh, he's done. Wow, he's done. I can't believe this is going to happen. But it's done. They ain't bringing him back in a month.
Will he
End of
get another
September?
chance somewhere? I'm sure it's possible. You know, a lot of different announcers have gotten second chances after problems have happened. But there's two parts of this. One, you mentioned it on Friday. Is he really going to be the number 4 guy on Fox? Does that interest him at all? Two, it certainly seemed to me, and David knows this much better than I do because he's actually in the business. But I've done a boatload of play-by-play. Not at that level. I'm not trying to compare myself to it. You can tell, however, when you've done this for a living, if somebody sounds prepared. And to me, he sounded like he was kind of winging it. When you don't know who half the players are on the field, that seems to be a problem. So he's made enough. I mean, think about it. He's made enough money. He don't need to work anymore if he doesn't want to.
Well, he's made about $110 million as a broadcaster. He's got $90 million on the table that him and his lawyers and CBS and their lawyers will fight about. I don't think, and I don't know Tony at all. I almost worked with him, but I don't know him at all. All right. But from what I've heard, he's not a hard worker. And so I don't think he'll spend the next few years grinding his way back up the scale. I think he'll take the money, he'll go home, and he really thinks he's going to play on the Champions Tour.
Which he's not.
No, but he really thinks he is.
Because there are guys that played on the PGA Tour that struggle playing on the Champions Tour. Then, of course, there's Zach Johnson, who seems to dominate on the Champions Tour. Miller and Moulton. So that's a little bit of what's going on there. We gave you the best 37s. We talked a little Major League Baseball trade deadline. Coming up here in 10 or so minutes' time, we are going to talk college football and the possibility of the college football bill getting passed this week in Congress. Will it get passed? That would give them antitrust exemptions. The Big Ten and the SEC seemingly jumped on board in the 11th hour. That was the most important part for this at least to get voted on. We'll see how much power and influence these schools and conferences have on their state reps. Eligibility, so many things, salary cap, so many things that would help college football. Pandora's box has been opened, but they can at least shut part of it with this. They can start getting some rules in order, but now they need Congress's help. It looks as if we're going to get a vote this week. We'll talk about that coming up in about 10 minutes' time. We will check in on the Colts as we run down the AFC South. David and I have said for a while, look, at the NFC North is the most fascinating division to us. The NFC South, you could pull names out of a hat and have as good a luck picking how that division is going to finish by actually making an actual prognostication. But the AFC South and the AFC North, to me, both very interesting divisions for a lot of different reasons. Colts got off to a great start a year ago. Obviously, Daniel Jones gets hurt, and they fall apart. Well, he gets his contract and gets paid. They pay one receiver, and he's on the PUP list, and he's a burner. How's that going to influence them for the early part of the season? Will Pierce be ready to go? We'll find out about that and just what the expectations are in Indianapolis coming up here in a little while. And we'll talk some baseball, top of the pro hour. Trade deadline, nothing's happened this morning yet. I think there's a chance between 9 and 10, the action will start picking up. I do think we're going to have a pretty active trade deadline. I think Skubal getting moved when he did will help others make deals. Miller and Moulton, Pelican Roofing of Florida. Text line is open at 21,000. A reminder, our Fantasy Football Summit is a week from tomorrow. Go to millerandmoulton.com to sign up. Would love to see you there. Still plenty of slots available. Probably waited a little longer than we should have to get this off the ground, but there's been a few things going on. Not an excuse, just reality. So we'd love to see you Tuesday the 11th. Doubletree Hotel, where Shoeless Joe's is, in the Bell Tower Shops in Fort Myers. You can sign up right now, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark, I'm curious. There were 3 or 4 key guys who were taken out of the lineup over the weekend in baseball. And obviously that was as a precaution because, you know, the team's trying to trade them and they don't want them to get hurt before they're traded. But your starter, what was it, Mize,
right?
All right. You've got Holmes, the starting pitcher with the Mets. Arise. Listen, if he ends up going to a team in the American League that's not the Rays, we are going to crush them tomorrow. I'm sorry. That's a perfect match. Get it done.
And I believe by waiting so long, whether it's the Red Sox, whether it's a team in the AL Central, someone else is now bidding with the Rays for a rise. And did they wait too long to make the deal? Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, Miller and Moulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape. The Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Pelican. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Tim, I will say, I mean, look, I'm not going to defend Mike Tirico, but he was suspended with pay by ESPN once. There was never a charge formally brought against him. That's all I'll say. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Appreciate you doing this.
No problem.
This was quite a Friday. I mean, everything broke on all this college football crap seemingly Friday afternoon.
Yeah, you try to get it out of the way. I hope it goes away by Monday.
Where's home base for you?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte. That's right. My son lives on the other coast. He's in Greenville, North Carolina.
Ah, nice.
Went to ECU and just stayed there. He worked all through college and kept the same job out of college, and not a bad little city.
No, I've been to Greenville a lot. Both of my parents graduated from ECU. I've been to Green up until I went to UNC. Greenville was ECU was the most college football games that I'd seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Morning, Michael.
Good morning.
Thanks for doing this.
No problem.
Moving like lasagna. I like that. Depends how much grease is on the bottom of the pan.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Thrilled to be joined by Michael Felder, talking college football once again, although not necessarily on the field. First off, check out Michael's work. It's felder.substack.com. It's felder.substack.com. You can follow him on X at In the Bleachers. In the Bleachers, Michael Felder. Michael, David, and Mark, thanks for doing this again. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How you guys doing?
Well, we're actually a little confused, and we're not joking. We're a little confused. We've done our reading over the weekend about what is taking place in the courts and off the field, so to speak, in college sports, and we don't know what the hell's going on. So, assuming that you know more than us, we called you and said, could you explain to us what the hell happened in the last 72 hours?
I mean, no.
Okay.
But basically, the NCAA decided to move forward with the 5 to play 5. Okay. One-time transfer. Okay. And then immediately there was pushback. I believe it was in Colorado. Pushback from athletes that were like, well, I enrolled in 2022. I should get 5 to play 5 as well. And so a judge granted them an injunction that said, yeah, they did get 5 to play 5. And it's all haywire. Is that the term? Like, literally, like it all feels insane.
And they're trying to get this Protect College Sports Act passed.
Yep.
The SEC and the Big Ten at about the 11th hour said, okay, if you can make a couple of changes, we're on board. So the big conferences are all on board. From what you understand, if they get this to a vote this week, what is the likelihood of it passing?
I'm going to go backwards to go forwards. I don't understand why people who aren't involved in college sports are actually being involved in this with respect to like legislation, because I understand that they're being advised in theory by guys like Nick Saban and Urban Meyer and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like those guys also don't coach anymore. So, and there's no real player voice in this. So it all feels very hollow to me, and wonder what it's going to look like once somebody tries to take it to court. But to go back so I went backwards to go forward. So if this passes, I think it will, because it makes people seem like they're doing a good job to help college athletes. And at the end of the day, I don't know that they are. I also don't know that it's going to help high school athletes either. And as I mentioned before, they've already placed an injunction. Courts have already placed an injunction on the idea that the guys that enrolled in 2022 can't play a 5th year. So people there's this like, what's the word I'm looking for? They're up in arms, if you will, because they're like, this is going to mess with roster sizes and it's going to hurt. People aren't going to be able to figure out where they're going to play. And I think that those things are all true. I think you're going to have to go back and restructure, because they came out with this idea that you can only have 105 players all on full scholarship for football. Well, if you have 5 for 5, I don't know. I got my calculator right here, right? If you got guys playing 5, if you got 105 players, how many players can you bring in over the course of 5 seasons?
Well, that's like 21 a year.
21 a year, right?
Uh-huh.
Plus, you also got to look at the portal. So you can bring, it used to be you were supposed to sign 25 guys a season. You could go up if you had attrition, if you had guys go to the NFL, maybe you go up a little bit, or you have early enrollees, they don't count towards your number. So this is all going to be, it's going to be a huge nightmare as they try to stick at that 105 number. Everybody's going to have to be granted some sort of waiver or some sort of special, they're all going to be special cases, because mean, UNC just brought in 40 kids. Other schools are bringing in a ton of kids. And now those kids can play for 5 years. That means you're not cycling through them in the same way.
Michael Felder, college football writer, analyst. Check out his Substack. It's felder.substack.com. It's felder.substack.com. Follow him on X at In the Bleachers. In the Bleachers. Don't you think, though, if you're the NCAA at this point, you might as well go all in with this because you've lost just about everything else since the O'Bannon case in 2009. And you've got the president behind you. You've got politicians behind you. You got big name ex-coaches behind you. I mean, if you're the NCAA, doesn't this feel like the one thing in the last 15 or so years you've tried to do in which you actually have some semblance of some support?
Yeah, it does. I think it does feel that way. I also look at it as we've been behind busted when we had to go to real court. And that's something I don't think we talk about nearly enough. But they get their behinds whooped in court because just absolutely just beat down because rules aren't laws. And even this Protect College Sports Act, it's not laws. It's just backing their rules, which means if I'm Jim Bob from, Alabama and I want to, I go to Alabama, I'm not playing and I want to transfer somewhere. You can't tell me I can't leave again. I'll take you to court and I'll probably win. Like the only reason, think about this. British Sorsby was at Cincinnati, transferred to Indiana, bet on games at Indiana, including Indiana games, transferred to Texas Tech. Okay. We found out he was gambling on games. For the NCAA, that's supposed to be like, okay, you're done. You're kicked out. He took them to court, got a suspension. What was it, 2 games, I believe?
Mm-hmm.
Then the only reason that he's not going to play football this year is because the rest of the Big 12 decided we're not going to play them if he plays. So the NCAA didn't do anything in that case. They tried, but they also got their behind, again, like you said, whoop, in court. I don't know what this Protect College Sports Act, I think it looks good. It's going to sound good. I'm sure Trump's going to stand there and be like, look at what I did. But at the end of the day, you have to go to court. And if they're going to take you to court, you're going to lose.
All right. I think largely this is there because, and David and I have talked about this for a long time. I'm just curious your take, Michael, is that Greg Sankey doesn't want to give up any power. Tony Petitti doesn't want to give up any power. And you throw the ACC commissioner and you throw the Big 12 commissioner in there. No one wants, they're all working for their conferences, not for the betterment of college football. But this TV deal gets up and the playoff deal is up sometime next decade. Will we have do we need a super league in order to have one voice in the sport, if you know what I mean? One czar of college football. And would that help?
I don't know if it would help because I don't think anybody would be happy. But I guess if everybody's unhappy, then you're moving in the right direction. But at the end of the day, you mentioned it. This is not like the NFL, right? Like we don't have like the NFC East fighting against the AFC South, fighting against the NFC North. Like we don't have that. You just have one guy, Roger Goodell. You can say he's good or bad, but you have one guy who's in charge of all of it. So I understand what you're saying. I don't think college football is ever going to be like that. It's incredibly, as much as they try to this is something I've talked about before. As much as they try to nationalize this sport from a television standpoint, specifically, and now I guess from a conference standpoint with USC, Oregon, UCLA, all those teams in the Big Ten, which is a Midwest conference, as much as they try to nationalize the sport, it's still going to be regional. It's always going to be regional. It's always going to be, whether it's Birmingham, Charlotte, Greensboro, it's always going to be regional. I mean, I know they had SEC Media Days in Tampa, but like the reality of it is it's always going to be regional. The Big Ten is going to be in the Midwest, even though they have West Coast teams. The new Pac-12, which has 8 teams, that'll be that's going to be regional. And the Big 12, it's still like you can't fit all this under one umbrella because it didn't spring from one umbrella. This is not the same thing as the NFL. I think they should treat it as such. What I mean by as such, I mean as not the same thing as the NFL, because you can't go backwards. You can't go backwards and just say, "Hey, here's what we're going to do with college football." Because in theory, it worked fine on a regional basis, right? It worked fine when the ACC was actually on the Atlantic coast. It worked fine when the Big Ten was actually in the Midwest. It worked fine when the Big 12 was when the Big Eight and what was it, the SWC, when those guys combined, it worked fine because they were all right there. Now, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, man. Like, it's too big. It's too, and the scariest part is it does feel like it's too big to fail.
I think you're on to something there. One last question from me, Michael, and it's really the most important question I'm going to ask this whole time. How did the biscuits turn out last night, and who was responsible for making them?
Oh, man. Listen, let me tell you something. My heart was full yesterday. My daughter asked me to make biscuits, and I was like, yeah, I can make biscuits. And I thought that was just going to be like, I'm just going to go in the kitchen. I'll whip up some biscuits like I usually do. But she was like, I want to make them with you. And so my daughter and I, she's 8, Savannah and I made biscuits together. We made country ham biscuits. I don't know if you guys have Bojangles, but we made country ham biscuits with seasoned fries. It's like a classic Bojangles meal. And the biscuits turned out fantastic. She was happy. I literally just gave her breakfast, and for breakfast she has to have one of the leftover biscuits. So listen, you can't beat that with a stick.
Well done, Dad. Well done. Michael Felder, in his spare time, he covers college football. Full time, he's a dad making biscuits. Read his work. It's felder.substack.com. It's felder.substack.com. Follow him on X at In the Bleachers. Michael, all the best to you and your family. We'll talk soon.
Sounds good. You guys take it easy.
Michael Felder joining us once again here on Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Why, thanks, Dan. I didn't know if it would be a good thing or be really scary would be one way to look at it, but whatever it is. By the way, Sundays at the Mexican grocery store is a treat too, because they're busy. And boy, do all the Mexican moms give you a little nod of respect when you're in there buying tortillas. The one gringo in the store getting me some tortillas and a couple of Mexican Cokes. Oh, I get that. The fried. I don't know what that is, Javier. You've got me. Wow, because I made a little salsa rojo yesterday with a bunch of. I saw a recipe. It had like, what are those? I don't know. The one with the 5-letter chili that's hot. I don't know, but this person put like 20 in there. I'm like, all right, I'll do 20. I like spicy. Daughter had a friend over. They both tried it and were running to drink something. My wife tasted it. She went, whatever. She's only Irish at heart. There, no, not the Arable, the hot ones, ARB.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Andrew Moore in a little more than 15 minutes to talk Indianapolis Colts. JP Hoornstra at the top of the hour, talk a little baseball. Trading deadline is 9 hours and 38 minutes away.
And just looking at the Athletics list of their top whatever guys to be traded. And basically, David, on their list, top 10 guys to be traded, the only one that was traded was Skubal. 2 through 10 are still out there. So who makes the move? And I am flat out fascinated by what happens with some of these players. And like you said, the player that they have 11 and 12 on their list, just for instance, it's the middle infield for the Marlins.
They better not be traded. They better not be traded. Got to be kidding me. Be a joke.
It would. It would definitely be a joke.
Do you know the Angels on that athletic list have like 3 of the top 10? The Mets have 4 guys that they've been talking about trading. 2 relievers, 1 lefty, 1 righty, another starting pitcher. They've got at least 1 outfielder who's a righty bat, and apparently, that's where people are really hurting, a right-hand hitting outfielder. Okay, so to me, there's 2 or 3 teams here who should be spectacularly busy. Now, maybe they're holding out to between 3 and 5 and, best deal they can get, blah, blah, blah. But, some of these teams, how if you're the Angels and you're the Mets, do you keep anybody unless you're literally signing them long term?
Well, and I just look, like the one thing that I'm intrigued by is one of the guys that they've been talking about perhaps getting moved is Duran from the Red Sox. He's having a terrible year, but they're playing great baseball. And this is the worst year of his career. And he's, I don't know, a bit of a you-know-what. He had another out-of-body experience. What was it, on Friday night? Yelling about a sac fly. So, I mean, there's a lot of this that, the Red Sox, I don't think they're done. And I'm with you, David. If the Marlins move the middle infield, wow.
We will call up Kyle Seeloff.
He won't come on.
And we will bring him on and we will say, listen, we just want to wish you the best going forward. We're never going to call you again because unfortunately the franchise that you work for is not legit. Okay, honestly, they're over 500. They're a game and a half out of the playoffs. I mean, are we sure the Phillies are going to hold off the Marlins? I mean, Bryce Harper came out last week and said, we better get some help. We need it. Okay.
All right, let me ask you this question, and I'm going to ask JP Hoornstra the same question coming up at 9. But David, first off, we know there's going to be some sort of a lockout/strike. You and I would bet every dollar we have on no baseball being played, and for sure in March. I don't think there's any played in April, and I will be surprised to see baseball in May of next year. I really will. How much of that do you think is part of what's going on right now, if any? Do you think the pending lockout strike, whatever you want to call it, how much influence will that have on who and what gets done today?
I think it's having a lot of influence in a good way because teams are like, we have no idea if there's going to be a next year, never mind what it's going to be like. So let's get rid of some guys whose contracts expire at the end of the year. But also in some cases, let's take on some guys whose contracts expire because we're going for it. We have no idea if we're going to have a season next year, but we're in position to potentially do something this year. So let's do it. So in that sense, I actually think looming in 2027 is good for the deadline and what have you. Mark, you know what the other thing that you could argue is bad because people will go, oh, well, we're not going to win now. Nobody has a chance now because of the Dodgers picking up Scooble. But, Mark, organizations don't quit. They don't give up. They don't think that they're going to lose. They think, you know what? We go in healthy. We put our best foot forward. We'll beat these guys. Now, whether it's true or not, who knows? But you really think the Brewers and the Braves think that they're losing to the Dodgers? No, they think they're going to get them. And so to me, also, the Dodgers going all in. I said at the beginning of the show, but Mark, I'm being serious. Everybody had a chance to get Scooble. This isn't free agency. This was just giving up prospects. And they paid the biggest price. And I think, quite frankly, you have to ask yourself, why? Are you trying to win or not? Then how could you let them outbid you? Hell, they went all in because they were worried Milwaukee was going to get them.
And, Steve Carney, who comes on our show a lot, covers the Rays and does a tremendous job. He flat out said, and it's prospect, I should have looked it up. That's on me. But he's like, the Rays weren't willing to give up X. A prospect for a chance to get to and perhaps win a World Series? I'm on the record for saying the Rays wouldn't do it because financially it makes no sense for them. They're not going to the new ballpark next year. As David mentioned earlier in the show, hell, we don't even know if they're going to get the new ballpark.
Yeah, we don't know if this franchise is going to end up in Orlando.
So I understand. I knew the Rays wouldn't make the move. 2 years from now, maybe. But would going all in for the Rays this year help get the votes they needed in the city council? I have no idea, because I don't know what the hell's going on there. I don't think so.
No, I don't think it matters. Mark, they're in first place. They have the best record in the American League. Got the fourth best record in baseball. It's not, nobody's bringing any of that up, okay, when they're debating whether or not the Rays are to get the stadium of the future. Which actually backs up your argument against mine. My argument was you got to go get Scooble because, damn it, you're in this to win, and you got a real chance to win, okay? And clearly right now, apparently winning don't mean squat to anybody involved in this. I think it does to the Rays, but not to the people that they're trying to get votes from. They only care about tax dollars. They don't care about a World Series. And you know me, Mark, if we own the team and we get this vote without some of these people, okay, don't be coming around this stadium when we're playing in our next World Series. You're going to be paying full price.
Miller and Moulton Fantasy Football Summit a week from tomorrow with Dr. Roto. Doubletree Hotel in the Bell Tower Shops, where Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe is. Sign up now, millerandmoulton.com, millerandmoulton.com. We will begin, or continue, I should say, because we started with the Jags on Friday. We'll dive into the rest of the AFC South, starting with the Indianapolis Colts. Andrew Moore covers the Colts. He'll join us next and tell us what he thinks the Colts have in store for the season on Miller and Moulton.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com, capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in. 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Hello.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. JP Hoornstra, he will join us to talk Major League Baseball. Trading deadline is a little over 9 hours away. Andrew Moore is kind enough to talk the Indianapolis Colts with us. He covers the Colts for Sports Illustrated. Follow Andrew on X, Andrew Moore with 2 O's. Andrew Moore NFL. Andrew Moore NFL. Andrew, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Well, it's our pleasure. We've been intrigued with this team ever since they fell apart down the stretch last year, which obviously can be greatly attributed to Daniel Jones's injury. So now it leads us and you and everyone around the Colts to the question. So is this team more like the 8-2 Colts, or is this team going to be more like the team that fell apart? Who are they, Andrew?
Well, the Colts certainly hope that they're more like the 8-2 team to start, because they really brought back pretty much everybody. They re-signed Daniel Jones, obviously, re-signed Alec Pierce to that huge deal. And I think the Colts really look at how last season ended and think most of our top guys were injured. Daniel Jones, obviously, DeForest Buckner had the neck injury, Sauce Gardner, Mooney Ward were both out, and the Colts put a lot of capital into those guys. Jonathan Taylor was healthy, but when you have Jonathan Taylor and pretty much nothing else, I mean, he can only do so much. And Phillip Rivers, try as he may, couldn't bring them out of that hole. So the Colts and Carly Ursay-Gordon really believe that they have the right stuff to make the playoffs and make a run, as long as they can stay healthy. And so we'll have to see if that does happen. It's a pretty big gamble, in my opinion, because they really didn't bring in too much outside help this offseason. So they better be right. Otherwise, this could be a rebuild by the end of the 2026 season.
You know, I find it interesting. You just posted yesterday on X about Clowney going to Houston. He would have been a good fit there. We were talking about this earlier. We can think of, I don't know, 10 teams he would have been a good fit to play 30 snaps a day as still a guy that can get after the passer. When you look at this defense, where in your eyes, where are the flaws? Where do they need help? Is it the pass rush? When you talked about the injuries from last year with guys coming back, Where do you see this defense heading into the 2026 season?
The pass rush is definitely the spot with the most questions surrounding it. You have Leatu Latu, who took a big jump in year 2, and the Colts think he can take another jump in year 3 and become a double-digit sack guy. I mean, he was in the top 10 in pressures for edge rushers, but there were too many opportunities where he was get close to a sack but couldn't finish it, and that's why he only had 8.5 last year. The Colts want him to get to that 11 to 12 range. He does look faster. His get-off is certainly something he worked on. But opposite of Leatu Latu, there's not much. You have Arden Key, who's been a journeyman and more of a rotational guy. He's the one that's kind of in the lead to be the starter opposite Latu. You have Jalen Tuimoloau, who had a productive career at Ohio State, but hardly saw the field as a rookie last year for the Colts. And then it's Michael Clemens and a couple of day 3 picks in George Gumbs Jr. and Caden Curry. So the Colts went hard after Trey Hendrickson. We all know how that ended with him going to the Baltimore Ravens with the whole Max Crosby saga. But they really didn't have a plan B. And so I thought Jadeveon Clowney would have been perfect to come in, start opposite of Latu, take some pressure off of him, and it's kind of pick your poison. If you're going to focus more on Clowney, Latu's going to have more one-on-ones and vice versa. You had DeForest Buckner in there, and that would have been a solid 3 pass rushers on the starting offensive line. And the Colts had $31 million in cap space. So I really don't understand why they couldn't have gotten that done, especially when Clowney only signed for a deal that could be up to $8 million. But again, the Colts are rolling with their guys, and they better hope they're right.
Andrew Moore covers the Colts for Sports Illustrated. Follow him on X. Andrew Moore with 2 O's, R and E. Andrew Moore NFL, Andrew Moore NFL. Do you believe that the Colts ownership and front office has got it right? Because, I mean, Jacksonville's doing the exact same thing. I mean, they lost a couple of guys. They replaced them, and nobody thinks they replaced them with better people. I mean, curious, Jags, Colts, same approach. Texans, 3 consecutive playoff berths, 3 consecutive double-win seasons, 3 consecutive years with winning playoff games, and they're the ones that are shuffling everything up on both sides of the ball. I mean, it's a very interesting divisional approach, isn't it?
It really is. And I do think the Colts, if they can all stay healthy, they have a lot of really good pieces. I mean, that secondary has been very, very impressive in camp. You have Sauce Gardner, who looks like he's playing at an all-pro form. Mooney Ward is back and is in a really good headspace after he said in camp that last year he was 85% sure he was going to retire, but he's in a really good headspace. He's been performing well. They have a young kid named Justin Wally in the slot who's taking over for Kenny Moore, who has looked great. The secondary with Lou Anarumo is really going to drive this defense. And I think that's why they're so bullish on this team, is because they feel like that secondary, and then I'll add Cam Bynum in there at safety, they feel like the secondary is really what is going to help the pass rush, make quarterbacks hold on to the ball a half second longer so Latu and Key can really get to the quarterback. Again, we'll have to see if that's the case and if that secondary can stay healthy, but if they can, I think it has a chance to be one of the better secondaries in the NFL. And then when you look at the offensive side of the ball, really, it's all going to come down to Daniel Jones. This team is only going to go as far as Daniel Jones takes them. And luckily for the Colts, I mean, through that first week of training camp, Daniel Jones has been a full participant. And if you didn't know he tore his Achilles last year, you wouldn't be able to tell, because he's been accurate with the football. There really doesn't look to be a drop-off in velocity. He's been scrambling around. He's picked up multiple 10-yard gains when nothing is available. So, and that's been the biggest surprise to me, is how his mobility has looked. So if you can get the Daniel Jones that was there for the first 10 weeks of 2026, you're going to be just fine. But it's really going to take the pads to come on, get those live game reps to see how Daniel Jones really handles when the bodies are flying around, and if there's that mental hurdle that he still needs to get over when it comes to that Achilles. So it's an interesting approach. It's the approach the Colts have taken the past few years as far as liking their own guys. It hasn't really worked out for them in the past, but we'll see if 2026 is any different.
It's amazing to me. It just, when I see these things, like, wow, he's been in the league that long, hasn't he? Quentin Nelson's the only starting lineman that's over the age of 30. In fact, I think he's the only lineman on the squad that's over the age of 30. I think he might just be 30 or maybe 31, but this offensive line's projected to be pretty good. Obviously, you talked about keeping Jones upright. That's paramount. How worried is everyone on Pierce? Because starting the year on the pup, this guy's a burner. Part of his job is to be able to, take a defense and extend them deep. If he doesn't have speed, that hurts. And there's a lot of pressure on him. Warren's a great tight end. We know Taylor's a terrific back. I don't know what else the wide receiver position gives you yet, but how worried are you about Pierce?
Really not worried at all.
Okay.
Alec Pierce, the whole situation with his ankle is they tried to opt not for surgery, do a simple some rehab with it, but this has been plaguing Pierce since last year. And it was either wait till after this upcoming season and risk injuring it even further and missing more time, or take care of it in March. And the Colts knew about this when they were going through the free agent process with him, so it wasn't a surprise. But take care of it in the spring, be ready for the start of the season. And he's still on track. He's maybe about a week away. We could even see him at the end of this week. He is getting close. But it's not like Alec Pierce is coming into a new offense or a new quarterback. He has a great rapport with Daniel Jones. This is going to be year 4 in Shane Steichen's offense. And I think that Alec Pierce, you're going to see him, go from 80 targets last year to potentially 130, 140 targets this year. Alec Pierce is really what's going to drive this passing offense. You obviously have Tyler Warren, but Josh Downs as well. Josh Downs is expected to have a much bigger role than just the slot receiver he's known to be the past 3 years. Michael Pittman Jr. is now in Pittsburgh. You're going to need to have somebody step up. The Colts have been playing Josh Downs outside and in the slot, really moving him all around the field in training camp. I would expect a really big year from Josh Downs to take a step up. Alec Pierce, obviously, and I think Tyler Warren's only just getting started. So that's a pretty good trio to have. The Colts would still like to add another wide receiver, someone that could make an impact. Keenan Allen is still out there and has a connection with Shane Steichen from their days with the Chargers. That's definitely a player to keep an eye on. But I think the Colts are really comfortable with their top 3 targets.
Is this a make it happen year for the Colts, or else the coach and the GM and, quite frankly, a lot of important people are going to give up their offices?
Absolutely. Carly Ursay-Gordon made it known that the sense of urgency has never been higher. And I think Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen both know that if they don't make the playoffs, this is likely their last year in Indianapolis. Now, Chris Ballard, he's in the final year of his deal. I would not expect an extension to be done until at the earliest after the season, if one comes at all. Shane Steichen is still under contract through 2028, so they're not necessarily tied to one another. But if we have another season like last year where it's a complete collapse, I would expect Ursay-Gordon to be making some changes. And that's why you don't see the Colts giving out really long-term deals with, at least at this point, to Jonathan Taylor, DeForest Buckner, those types of guys. They certainly could come, and I would expect the Colts to still want to keep some of their core guys even if they do rebuild. But it's make or break year for Chris Ballard. And I know a lot of Colts fans want to see him gone, but I think if the Colts do finally get over that hump and make the playoffs and make some noise, I think Ballard is going to be back. But we'll have to see, because the Colts haven't made the playoffs since that 2020 season with Phillip Rivers. So a lot of pressure on Indianapolis.
And the schedule, I make more of the schedules than I probably should, but the NFC East, obviously the division they're in is very good. The AFC North. So there's not a lot of easy, when you never look at it and go, well, I can find you 7-8 wins right there. I can see like 4, and I see a bunch of games they could win, but they could also lose. What's it going to take in your estimation to be a playoff team? Is it 10, and can they get there?
I think it is going to take 10 to get that wild card berth, and I think they can get there. But again, it's really going to depend on the health of this team, because they have so many key guys that dealt with injuries last year or are currently dealing with injuries. Obviously, Daniel Jones, Alec Pierce is coming off of the PUP list. DeForest Buckner, thankfully, with that neck injury, he's progressing very well. He's really starting to work in those 11 sessions, and he looks like the DeForest Buckner of old. So that's huge. Sauce Gardner and Mooney Ward, the two cornerbacks that they really want to pair together so Lou Anarumo can play more man coverage, really take everything outside off the table for those quarterbacks. Those guys are healthy. So they have a lot of stars. We have a lot of big names on this team, but it's just all got to gel together. And there's a very small margin of error for this Colts team because their schedule is, on paper, it may seem like the strength of schedule is low, but when you're coming out of the box, going out against the Baltimore Ravens, the Kansas City Chiefs, you play Houston twice a year, you play Jacksonville twice a year. There's a lot of really big games on this schedule that the Colts are going to have to take care of business. And if they don't find a way to win those games against those quality teams, it's going to be tough for them to make the postseason.
Andrew, thanks for your time and your insight. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of camp. Safe travels. Hopefully we'll talk early in the season.
Thanks, guys. Talk soon.
Andrew Moore, Sports Illustrated, covers the Colts. Follow him on X, Andrew Moore NFL. That's Moore, Moore, Andrew Moore NFL.
I mean, they get, like he said, they open with Baltimore, home game. At Kansas City, home for Houston, the Commanders in London, and at Pittsburgh. So 3 of 5 games not at home. The home games against a good roster in Baltimore and the team we think's the best team in the division in Houston. So, okay, Colts. That offensive line is expected to be pretty good. It's going to need to be.
You know, they've got some, this should be a win. This should be a win. This should be a win type of games. You know, the 2 against the Titans. They got a home game against the Giants around Thanksgiving. You know, they've got a game at Cleveland. I mean, they should have 4 W's right there.
But okay, beyond that, like I look through this, I'm with you, David. That means they got to beat the Titans twice. Okay.
Yeah.
They got to beat the Giants at home. Yep. Okay. They got to beat the Browns on the road. After that, you know, their crossover games are at Kansas City, at Minnesota. Okay. If Kansas City's really on a decline, and who knows who's going to be the quarterback on September 20th, it's the second game of the year, go get Kansas City. We're going to get a trade deadline. Major League Baseball talk. JP Hoornstra next.
Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. Capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofing.com. PellecinRoofingCompany.com. CCC
The
1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home? With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton. You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Final hour, pro hour of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Make sure you go to millerandmoulton.com. Sign up. Week for tomorrow, our Fantasy Baseball Summit. We have it every year with Dr. Roto. It's the best fantasy event that we know of, to be honest with you. So millerandmoulton.com, sign up and enjoy and count your winnings. JP Hoornstra covers baseball for a living for Newsweek and a few other places where he appears. You can follow him on X at JP Hoornstra, JPHOORNSTRA. JP, it's David and Mark. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Well, so far, has the trade deadline lived up to it for you?
Well, being here in Los Angeles, there's
Right.
still a wave of euphoria from Tarek Skubal going to the Dodgers that I can. It's really funny because the Dodgers got swept by the Red Sox at home. And I feel like if this had happened at any other point in the calendar, pandemonium here. And yet, the Skubal of it all just washes over everything. And fans are so happy. They're so optimistic that the Red Sox could just trample over the Dodgers. And it was all.
Well, obviously, there are a lot of people today that are not Dodger fans going, oh, the Dodgers are ruining baseball. To the two of us, JP, it's like this wouldn't have been that hard for a lot of other teams to pull off a similar trade. Why do you feel that others were unwilling to give up the prospects necessary to outduel the Dodgers for this trade?
I don't want to sound cliche, but I really do think the Dodgers were just more aggressive in this case. And it really did come down to teams not willing to mortgage prospects that whatever algorithm they're looking at, right, to tell them, are you going to win this trade? Is it worth it, to give up prospects A, B, and C for Tarek Skubal? Sometimes teams get really beholden to those algorithms that tell you, no, you're going to lose this trade. And they're worried more about losing the trade than they are about winning the World Series. Now, I will caveat that by saying that if the Dodgers lose an individual trade, they don't have to worry about that as much as literally any other team, with the possible exception of the Mets, because they can just go out and buy a free agent who is equivalent to that player that they couldn't trade for. And that is why, if the Dodgers don't make another trade in the next, how many hours until the trade deadline? Roughly 12, right? That I wouldn't be surprised because, Tarek Skubal is the best player available on the market. And anybody else isn't going to really help the Dodgers that much. Whereas if you're the Brewers or if you're the Rays, maybe you had the prospects to go get Tarek Skubal, but you can go out and get a Reed Detmers, a Jose Soriano, and justify that to your fans as, hey, we made a meaningful upgrade. Well, the Dodgers couldn't really do that unless they went out and got Tarek Skubal. So it's a little bit mathematical, but at the end of the day, who cares, right? Go out and win a World Series. Go out and get the best player. If you have the prospect capital to do it, especially given the fact that we don't know how much baseball is going to be played next year, just worry about October, and I think that's what fans want to hear.
Well, JP, you're taking me where I wanted to go, which is, Mark, my co-host, asked me last hour, how much do you think the looming specter of no or very little baseball next year, how much do you think it hangs over this deadline? I would think it would create more urgency. What is it that you're hearing?
Yeah, I would think so too. I think that maybe if you're a player, especially if you're a young player, and a team comes to you with an extension offer, the idea that you might have to sacrifice a lot out of a paycheck that's, good, obviously, but not like life-changing good, might compel you to sign an extension. I think if you're in the front office, you're hearing things directly from ownership that, the public isn't hearing, and that might not persuade you to go out of your lane. Certainly, I think if you're the Dodgers, they operated on the same MO that they always have. I would like to think, though, that a smaller market team might say, like, look, we really depend on our ticket revenue. If you're the Padres, for example, you're not getting a ton of TV revenue. You're selling out every home game. If you don't have 80 home games next year, I'm sorry, like, that's going to eat into your cash flow. And so I would like to think that the Padres would be more aggressive than usual. Now, the Padres are in the unique position of being in this weird ownership transition, but setting that aside, right, they're in the middle of a playoff race. They really should be going for it. They just didn't have the prospect capital to get Tarek Skubal. But again, if you're the general manager of a Major League Baseball team, you're hearing things from your owner or your control person, whoever it may be, that we aren't hearing. And so I haven't seen any teams really act with urgency to this point, but still a little deadline left, so we'll see.
Well, one of the teams that we're fascinated by, and the Rays made a move. We pay attention to the Florida teams maybe a little more than the rest. But the Marlins have 3 players that I see that, people want in Edwards, Lopez, and Alcantara. And to us, if they do it, it's criminal. Because how many times are they going to have the Mets in this position with what they're spending to be at the bottom of that division? The Nats seem to be a team, at least from their bats, that's going to be better next year. The Marlins are in a unique position. They can make the playoffs this year. They've got really good pitching. So if you're the Marlins, are you buying or selling today, JP?
Oh, I would buy. Absolutely. The Marlins are, their attendance picture isn't what the Padres is, right? But they're kind of an example of that kind of a team where I think that if you do drum up support for a playoff team in 2026, you can count on probably some more fans turning out in 2027. And they are also the kind of team that employs the kind of young players like an Otto Lopez, like a Liam Hicks, who I think if Peter Bendix were to go to them and say, hey, I've got this sweet contract extension, will you sign it? They're maybe more apt to say yes because of the lockout, right? Because that's money in the bank that they wouldn't have otherwise, literally. And if they say no, then maybe you think about it, right? Maybe that's at least prudent, if not fun. But I like, given the circumstances of the lockout, that to me as an outsider seems like a more plausible scenario if I'm running the Marlins. As an insider, again, though, Bendix came from the Rays. He's probably just as beholden to the algorithm as most other general managers, like those in Tampa and Milwaukee, who we saw not want to give up their prospects for Tarek Skubal. It is what it is, but I'm with you. I think that if you're the Marlins, you aren't approaching a trade deadline with this realistic a chance of making the playoffs in most years. Let's be real. You got to go for it when it's there.
Whether it's buying or selling, in the next 9 hours, who needs to be the most active?
Good question. The Phillies need a bat. They really need a right-handed, preferably a right-handed bat. Because that's a really, really good team over there. But they've got this very obvious flaw, and if it's not Taylor Ward, they got to do something because the Dodgers just went out and got the best player, and that's who you're going to have to beat to get to the World Series. I could say something similar about the Brewers. The Brewers really do have the prospect capital to make a deal. I don't think they necessarily have to trade Jesus Made. He's the number 1 prospect in baseball, even though they just gave a long-term contract extension to a guy who plays the same position. But you get my drift. Like there's some wiggle room there for Milwaukee to upgrade what could be the best team that they've ever had. Like literally, this might be the best Brewers team we've ever seen. If not now, when? I just think the Dodgers getting Tarek Skubal really does put the pressure on those 2 teams in particular, because on paper, they could knock them off. Like, they legitimately could knock off the Dodgers in a best-of-7 series. The Braves are in kind of a similar position. I know they've done some things to upgrade the back end of their starting rotation, but my goodness, it's not the deepest pitching staff in baseball, and they have a really good lineup. I could see the Braves doing something, but their prospect capital isn't as deep. And I think the American League is so wide open. Unfortunately, I don't know how aggressive teams are going to be, because the gap between the best team and, let's say, number 10 in the American League is small enough that, like, even if you're the Tigers, you could convince yourself, like, if we get into the playoffs, we got a shot. And the Tigers just traded their best player. So I don't even know what to make of the American League, unfortunately. But my goodness, if I'm running the Phillies or the Brewers, to a lesser extent the Braves, I'm letting go of some prospects here today.
Yeah, I don't know if the Phillies need a starting pitcher as well. To me, the American League, JP, and tell me if you think I'm wrong, but Houston's the one team. Go out and get a pitcher. They're scoring all kinds of runs. They've gotten healthy. That's a scary lineup in the postseason, but I don't know if they've got enough pitching.
Yeah, I don't know who on that pitching staff you're really afraid of facing in a playoff series, right? I think in the Astros case, like, the Astros, the Mariners, even the Rangers can talk themselves into the idea of their roster doing what it takes to win that division right now, because it's such a toss-up. But again, like, how far are any of them going in the postseason? At least with the Mariners, you can squint and see the pitching staff there. But I'm with you. I don't think the Astros have anything more than what it takes to just get over that finish line, because in the postseason, you're going to run into the best pitchers in the American League, and that's going to be a problem even for Yordan Alvarez. My goodness, what a season he's having. You would hate to see that go to waste, right? But as it stands right now, I just don't know who's available. I think if John Mozeliak, who just came in and ran the Angels, traded, for example, Soriano and or Detmers to the Astros and then had to face them in the division for the next 2 years, I don't think he's going to be around much longer. I think that interim tag is going to stay. So, I don't know how the Astros can do with Skubal off the market.
JP Hoornstra covers baseball for Newsweek, and you can follow him on X at JP Hoornstra. 2 O's, RNSTRA. JP, enjoy the rest of the day, and thanks for joining us here on Miller and Moulton.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the deadline.
Deadline is in 8 hours and 47 minutes.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Well, Floormeisters just doesn't sell CoreTech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller and Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller and Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest, now try the best. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
she was doing tonight. Charlie Steiner is among the many upset about the Barons, not only because they've been losing, because they've been so dull in the process.
If for some inexplicable reason you decided to hold your breath for the Barons to win their next game, they've gone winless in their last 13, you might now bear a striking resemblance to a resurrected NBC Peacock. Now,
Wow.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com. Miller_Moulton on X. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day one. Some final thoughts. All coming up in about 15 minutes.
Well, David, the big news of the day has been answered. We're set. We now know that the U.S. men's national team will keep their soccer coach for another few years. I hope everybody's happy with that. Screw the MLB trade deadline. We're ready for the next World Cup. By the way, they pulled back on that one pretty quick, didn't they? FIFA said, well, I guess maybe we're not going to sell off the World Cup.
Funny how FIFA thought they had the power.
And Europe told them, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
Really quickly, because you got a lot of money out of North America for this last World Cup. But we're kind of where your bread's buttered, and if we leave, you're done.
Yep, and don't think you're not. And listen, they had 6 of the 8 finalists. You know, I know they're the quarterfinalists, but I mean, you know my drift. You can't do a World Cup without Europe.
No. So of the other sports things that kind of occurred over the weekend from when we ended our show on Friday, I just laughed at that. And obviously, Scooble getting dealt. Training camp started. We get it. Another young guy won a golf tournament. Terrific. I'm really curious, David, with the PGA Tour going forward. I mean, at first, I was a fan of the PGA earlier in the year, but there is a huge void in the golf world. And I said, I'm done watching golf. I turned it on yesterday because there was nothing else on, but it's not like I'm a golf fan. It's not like it's appointment viewing for me. And I paid maybe a touch more attention this week than I did last week because it was in Detroit, but I don't know that course. So I don't really care. It was the last one. It was great to see a 24-year-old win. Thorbjornsen there, terrific, awesome. The rookie won last week. That's great. But we finished the British Open a while ago. And the FedEx Cup, for most of us, and I'm around a lot of golf fans. David, have you ever, and you're around golf broadcasters. Some of the guys you've worked with work on PGA Tour on broadcast. Is anybody ever talking about who wins the FedEx Cup?
Except when Tiger won it. And in fact, I'm trying to think the year he won the Tour Championship. Was it guaranteed that you also won the FedEx Cup?
You're asking the wrong guy, but maybe.
But outside of, I think it was 2018, Tiger winning in Atlanta. Okay, no. I mean, we all know what it is. Charles Schwab shells out like $50 million. FedEx does as well, although I think their money's going away. And they get rewarded with a season-long championship. And golf tried to do something that was very NFL-ish, which is, listen, let's have a season-long thing, and then we'll have the playoffs. And people like, it's just a cash grab for the top 70 players in the sport this year. Come on.
And remember, Miller and Moulton were both guys that used to like to watch the Disney tournament,
right?
Because that was the tournament where guys were trying to keep their card. And the battle at that time, it was the top 125. For David and I, we loved that. There was no more pressure than a guy having to make an 8-footer on 17 so he could keep his livelihood. Those days have long passed us by. But I understand we've got the new tracks and we've got the new things going on. I'm just wondering, from mid-July through whenever I guess in Ryder Cup years, maybe we'll pay a little more attention because of who's on the Ryder Cup team. But the President's Cup has never done anything for me and will continue to never do anything for me. So what is it I'm supposed to watch in golf after the British Open, like to really get into? And I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks, this kid winning in Detroit, the 21-year-old winning in his third PGA event as a pro. He played in one other as an amateur, I think the U.S. Open, and then he turned pro. That's incredible stuff. 61, 65 on the weekend without a bogey, or 61, 66, whatever the hell it was to win it. This kid could be a star. He has all the potential. He's won at every level. But to get new fans into the sport, you got to have a major in August. It's summer, for crying out loud. I think they've screwed up.
I do too. Problem is the PGA loves May. Loves it. Loves being the second major. Grand Slams in play. They love it. They don't want to move at all. They will fight like crazy to stay at May.
And it's right. It's more TV viewers, right? I mean, May's going to do better than August.
Yes, it is. Yes. So the one thing you asked about the broadcasters, golf broadcasters are weird. Okay, they really are. Mark, I think they're as into their sport as any other broadcaster. I mean, they really are. It's tough to get them to say a negative word about anyone or anything. They are so all in. Okay, have you heard anybody badmouth the changes coming up to the tour? I mean, seriously? You're all on board with these changes. You're all on board with certain tournaments that, by the way, some of you guys won that are going to go away. Really? I mean, I'll give Frank Nobilo a little credit. Frank Nobilo at least tried down the stretch yesterday to paint the picture for Michigan golf. But you could tell by the tones in their voices. They know this tournament ain't coming back in any grandeur. And they know the PGA Tour's thinking on that market, and they're not willing to get behind it.
And it is amazing because the fans, I mean, whether it was going back to when I was young, going to Grand Blanc, Michigan for the flippin' Buick Open, it was a nothing event for players. Players didn't come to that event. Until Tiger signed on with Buick, no one really showed up in Flint, Michigan for a golf tournament. But the crowds were through the roof. They were always great. I remember when people wanted going, man, the crowd on 17. 17 at Warwick was before they did it in Phoenix. I'm telling you. And then they went to Detroit, and they've had nothing but spectacular crowds. Nothing.
And Frank Nobilo did the soliloquy down the stretch yesterday. And then I forget the play-by-play guy filling in for Nance. But he also went through the first tournament ever held in Michigan was won by Hogan. The first one held here was won by Casper. And he just kept going. He even went on the women's side and said Dottie Pepper won the whatever in Grand Rapids in 99. Okay. And they did point out the stat. Only Florida and California have more golf than the state of Michigan. How could you get rid of this?
More public courses in Michigan than Florida or California, too, by the way. It's where people play golf.
Right.
It's
a disgrace, quite frankly. What? So you could have a big money event in Napa because a Japanese bank wants to put their money on an event? Come on. Grow a pair. Do what's right.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Cortec and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
You know, not bad. No, EB, there was never anybody at the Disney tournament. Never, because there was no players. If you had your card earned, you didn't show. You know, it was essentially a tournament of guys like 40 through 120 on the money list. Or 140, because guys trying to have that great tournament. Absolutely. Got your book? Good girl. Good for you, Empire. Congratulations, buddy. That's what I'm talking about. I'm all for a good hangover. I can't wait to have one again. Now that I'm allowed to have a drink, not 8 drinks. But I made a wonderful margarita last night to go along with my, what was it, berry tacos, whatever it is. You fry them and all that, whatnot. I know how to make them. I just don't know how to say it properly. And I don't think they were right. I got to have them somewhere else to test it out. Meat was delicious. I think the shell's got to be fried a little bit better. Glad you have a hangover, Empire. I'm excited about that. Hope you had like 7 shots, 8 beers, a couple of cocktails. I mean, I hope you did it right. I hope you're not just a wimp. Because it is 9:30 in the morning, so, it's a little late to be getting up. Berea, okay, thank you. I made those yesterday. Meat was sensational. Sensational. Attaboy. See, well done, Empire. Well done, Empire. So my kid was in the mountains in North Carolina with his mom's family. They go up, and not his mom, but all the guys go up. And it's kind of a golf trip. And he played some posh course Saturday. And Gunnar Stockton and all 3 Bobos were out on the course, Mike and his 2 kids. I don't know if any of them are coaches there, but he's like, watch Gunnar tee off on one. Love that we're in a world now where OCs and, quarterbacks are going out teeing it up together.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Home stretch, 22 minutes till we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X.
Trade deadline goes until 6. We'll see how much activity there is. I'm of the belief there will be a lot, simply because Skubal got moved in time to make things happen for other teams. And I am hopeful that means that maybe the Rays have another move for a bat now. They picked up a pitcher. I am hopeful that the Marlins don't make a move. But I don't think that's going to be the case. What do the Red Sox do? What do the Phillies do? A couple of teams that I'm keeping my eye on. And then, JP Hoornstra, David, talked about the Padres. They're one of the teams that could be moving the big arm. And I don't know if that will happen. It will show their hand for the next couple of years if they do indeed move Miller. So a lot to be seen, a lot to find out with the trade deadline, 6 o'clock today.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
All right. We start today in 1492. Columbus sets sail on his first voyage. The Santa Maria, the Pinta, and the Nina take off from Spain. 1852, America's first intercollegiate sporting event. Harvard rowing beats Yale by 2 lengths over 2 miles. The Crimson with the win. Today in 1909, umpire Tim Hurst instigates a riot. He spits in the face of A's second baseman Eddie Collins, who questioned a call. Hurst is banned for life. 1914. The only time this ever happened in the 20th century. Yankees catcher Les Nunemaker throws out 3 Tigers runners at second base in the first inning. Today in 1921, Kennesaw Landis hands out lifetime bans to the 8 White Sox players accused in the Black Sox scandal, despite their acquittal by a Chicago jury. President Harding died today in 1923. Baseball canceled their games because of it, and Calvin Coolidge becomes the 30th president of the United States. A great day in American history today in American sporting history. Really and truly. Today in 36, Jesse Owens wins the 100 in 10-3 in Berlin in front of Hitler. It would be the first of 4 gold medals he would win at the games. Satchel Paige makes his first start today for the Cleveland Indians in 1948. He was listed at age 42. Don't know if he was, but he goes 7 and gets the win. 1949, the Basketball Association of America and the National Basketball League merge. They form the NBA. 1960, at the Dixie Speedway in Birmingham, Alabama, Lee Petty and his sons Richard and Maurice race against each other for the first and only time. Richard finished second, Dad finished third. Then he punched Richard right in the mouth.
What are you, Jackie Gleason, all of a sudden? Where'd that come from?
I'm doing racing in Birmingham, and I thought it was the appropriate voice. 1960, exhibition game in Toronto. The Steelers beat the Argonauts 43-16.
And the Steelers were terrible.
Paul McCartney announces the formation of Wings today in 1971 with his wife and former Moody Blues guitarist Denny Lane. Sam Snead makes the cut today at the PGA at Oakland Hills. He was 67 years old, 2 months and 7 days. 1979. Think about that. Making the cut at a major at 67.
All right. This will take me a minute, but I believe Sam Snead at age 62 finished 4th in the PGA.
All right. 1981. The air traffic controllers begin their strike. President Reagan states during a press conference, if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated. And he did.
Yep, they did, and he did.
Uh-huh. They called his bluff, and he said, I ain't bluffing. Today in 1984, Mary Lou Retton scores a 10 in the final vault to win the individual all-around competition in LA and become the first American woman to win an Olympics gymnastics medal. 87, 2 things. First baseball, then music. Joe Niekro is caught with a file on the mound. He was ejected and suspended for 10. The video, that's spectacular, David.
The umpire with his hand on his face, and he just casually glances at the file falling out of his pocket onto the ground, kind of like, what do we have here?
And it's one of my least favorite albums, but it was a monster. Today in 87, Def Leppard's Hysteria is released. Better than what was number one on the charts in 96, because the Macarena hit number one today 30 years ago. And 2 years ago, Simone Biles wins the vault final for her third gold of the Paris Games and her seventh gold over 3 games. And Katie Ledecky tied a Soviet gymnast for the most decorated female Olympian of all time when she wins her 4th consecutive 800-meter in Paris, her 9th individual gold. Elijah Otis, big in elevators. Tony Bennett, just plain old big. And Todd Christensen would have all celebrated birthdays today. Martin Sheen's 86. Martha Stewart's 85. John Landis directed Animal House and the Blues Brothers. He's 76. Marcel Dion, he scored goals. He's 75. Sid Bream, if he were a faster runner, that play at home wouldn't have been so dramatic. But he was so slow that Braves win, Braves win, Braves win. He's 66. James Hetfield from Metallica, 63. NBAer and NBA coach Nate McMillan, 62. Tom Brady is 49. Swimmer Ryan Lochte is 42. And Todd Gurley is 32 years old today, the running back from Georgia. What did I miss, David?
Nothing. I thought you were going to leave the Macarena for me because it would disgust you so.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
All right. For the good today, we go to Canada and a tiny community by the name of St. Mary's. Apparently, it stunk in St. Mary's for years because 110 tanks, each holding 3,000 gallons of fermented fish sauce, were abandoned there 20 years ago. And now, apparently, they kicked off the cleanup operation to get the smelly fish smell out of St. Mary's. For the bad, we go to Minnesota, Wyoming, Minnesota. Not the state of Wyoming, but the city, Wyoming, Minnesota, where Kyle Steffen has been charged with a misdemeanor that could send him to prison for 6 months or give him a $1,000 fine. Apparently, he lives near a park, and the kids were riding their bike through his yard, and it pissed him off. So he set a long piece of thick plastic with screws sticking out of it to try to deter the bicyclists from going through his yard. Apparently, they still rode through his yard and yelled at him when doing so. He's now been charged with a misdemeanor. I've got to be honest with you now. It's your yard. Why can't you do that? I'm not messing around here. You don't want bikes going through your yard. How's he out of line?
I don't see it either.
And finally, the ugly. We come back to Florida and the U.S. Postal Service. A postal employee was arrested last week for allegedly stealing a winning Pick 4 lottery ticket that was sent through the mail to claim a prize. Lakeisha Lockhart was identified as a postal letter carrier. She was arrested and later admitted to stealing the ticket and redeeming it, valued at $2,600. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, August the 3rd, brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department, hiring new officers, great pay, overtime, benefits, other jobs available. Where do you go? CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com.
Trade deadline is in 8 hours and 11 minutes. 6 o'clock tonight Eastern. 8 baseball games tonight. Rays in Colorado. Yankees home for the Cardinals. Dodgers at Wrigley to take on the Cubs. How about that little 6-game homestand if you're a Cubs fan? Yankees and Dodgers back-to-back. And 2 teams separated by a game in the division and in the wild card standings. San Diego at Arizona begin a series tonight. Mark, Jeff Passan has apparently posted on X that Luis Ariz to the Phillies.
Yep. The Phillies are getting him and a reliever. Giants getting Ramon Marquez, the Phillies number 4 prospect, and a reliever by the name of Marty Gare. So, yes, Luis Ariz not going to the Rays where I wanted him to go to, going to another team that needs a hitter. Good move for the Phillies. Can't argue with it from the Phillies standpoint, David. They needed a bat.
Yep. They got too many outs in that lineup, especially against good pitching. Need somebody in the bottom part of the lineup to help roll it over for Schwarber, Harper, Turner, and company.
So the first domino was fell. I thought we'd get one before we ended the show today, David. I really did. And barely, by the skin of our chinny chin chin, we get one. See how busy it is the rest of the day. I think it's the first of many trades. I think it will be a very productive trade deadline.
I do too. I don't think there will be a blockbuster, though. I think that will wait until after the lockout and what have you is settled.
Well, if Miller gets moved, that's a blockbuster to me, David.
I agree.
That's the name that I would be curious if someone wants to go out and get a great closer and make that happen. That would be the move to me, David. But we'll see. Miller and Moulton. Training camp's underway, which means we don't know when Pat Kerwin will join the show this week. That's the one thing we do know. It's on Pat to let us know when he's going to join us as we start getting closer and closer to locking in our football lineup for this year. But we'll continue on with the AFC South. Still got to do some Tennessee talking and some Houston Texans talking. So that coming up later this week, and then we'll probably move to the AFC East and finish out the Florida teams as we'll kind of pick apart the divisions. Not the West divisions, because maybe we can get a little Chiefs, but other than that, it's tough to get people in either the Mountain or Pacific time zone to join the show. We can go about as far west as Kansas City, seemingly on the show without having to do something the night before to tape it. But maybe we'll do that too. Who knows? Working in your corner for you now. That's our job. Miller and Moulton. A reminder, the Fantasy Football Summit, 1 week from tomorrow. Dr. Roto, Doubletree Hotel in Fort Myers in the Bell Tower shops. You get dinner, you get a soft drink, and you get terrific fantasy football information. Go to millerandmoulton.com to sign up. Getting closer and closer to the start of football season. We knock another day off the countdown tomorrow on Miller and Moulton. Fantasy football season is here, and there's only one place to get the edge. Join Miller and Moulton for the Fantasy Football Summit with Dr. Roto at Shoeless Joe's Sports Cafe, Tuesday, August 11th, 7 p.m. Get championship-winning draft strategies, sleeper picks, busts to avoid, and answers to all your fantasy questions from one of the nation's top experts, Dr. Roto. Whether you're playing for bragging rights or big money, don't draft without this event. Tuesday, August 11th, the Fantasy Football Summit at Shoeless Joe's with Dr. Roto. Sign up, millerandmoulton.com.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities, They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512. Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Floormeisters just doesn't sell Core-Tech and carpet. They also sell a lot of wood. And what better time than now to stop in and see the nice folks at Floormeisters for some new hardwood for your home. With white oak wood starting at $4.99 a square foot, that makes it affordable for everyone. With 10 colors to choose from, they have a color for everyone. So stop in, 6281 Naples Boulevard, right next to Costco, or go to the web. It's floormeisters.com. Floormeisters.com. Floormeisters, just keeping it real. If you're a business who targets men, please know there is no better and more economical way to reach your target audience than us at Miller & Moulton. So let us help you make money. You can reach out to Mark at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton on X, or text us at 21,000. We have a proven product, a good reputation, and lots of quality segments that we can attach your company's name to. Miller & Moulton, we're like that old pizza box. You've had the rest. Now try the best. Miller & Moulton, millerandmoulton.com.
This is Miller and Moulton